Hello and welcome back to this week's Vintage Automobilia Workshop Wednesday. We've got a short one this week focusing mainly on the repair of this little petrol can. We're going to show you how we remove a dent out of that one. We've had a really busy couple of weeks since our last video. We are still working on moving very shortly, but we've also been busy buying stock. We've purchased around 20, I think, enamel signs in the last fortnight alone. We've got quite a few tins and several new pumps as well. So I'm going to show you some of the new arrivals here. Those will be featuring in upcoming videos in the next week or two as we start cleaning up and working on them. So here we are. These are a couple of the signs that have arrived. We have this fantastic Shell depot sign. One behind it is a hotel sign. We have this fantastic National Benzol Lubricants oil cabinet that's arrived. Now this has come to us straight from a funeral director's. They used to do their own servicing and looking after their vehicles, and they had some jacks and tyre pump, this oil cabinet and a few bits and pieces that we managed to purchase. Look at the condition of the handles there, the little wooden handles. Normally these get really oil soaked. They've actually still got their original varnish on them. All this oil in here will wipe off and clean up as well. You can see the paint coming through there. It's just fantastic original yellow paint, and that decal is amazing. Just that oil stain down the middle to remove, but we can sort that out. We'll feature cleaning this up in an upcoming video. Another new arrival is this fantastic Avery Hardall 298 pump. Lovely 1930s electric pump here. Totally original condition. This original red paint, all the fixings in the dial face are all correct and original. We're not sure what to do with this one really. I'm very tempted to leave it in this original patina condition. So this red paint would stay. We can wire it up and put a globe on there. We can put a hose and nozzle on here, get that all looking right again, and really just clean up, degrease and polish this paint. I might do that first and see what it looks like. There's a little bit of rot around the bottom to stabilise, but how often do you find them like this? This actually had a canopy built over the top of it, so it's always been undercover, and I think it really shows given its condition. We find a lot of them out there that need quite a bit of welding, and it's the norm to have to do some repairs. This rot down here is probably the worst. You can see the louvers have got quite eaten away as well, so this is why it's a bit borderline. I'm really not sure whether this deserves to be fully restored or whether we can get away with keeping a patina pump. So I'm not sure quite yet whether we're going to restore this one or not. I do have another one coming on the way that's already restored. So we're going to have the choice. We'll have one done and one as is an original, and we can put them side by side and we'll decide from there. As you know, we do a lot of restoration here, but personally I love originality. So this is the other pump that we've purchased this week. It's a little bit rotten. It is a Hammond Model C visible petrol pump. A really nice early pump, but it's really, really rotten. Take a look. So the casing is really quite rotten. You can see how bad it is there. It would need a whole new casing cylinder rolled to restore it. It's actually had the base cut off, so this is a good few feet shorter than it should be. Should have a cast base. The handle here has been cut off as well. You can see the little stub there where the handle would fix to is gone. The top is cast. That's in good condition. The glass is broken, but that's not a big deal. So today you join me in the workshop and we're going to do a few little jobs this week that we're trying to tie up. I am leaning here currently on a Beck meter petrol pump nozzle, which this is for a customer actually. They've got a Beck meter M-type pump they're restoring. It's seized up, this nozzle, handle doesn't move, also needs to be stripped down, blasted and polished. We will be doing that and sending it off as a restored unit ready to go. We do a few nozzles, but not too often. Most of them we keep for our own projects. So this nozzle is on the bench. We're going to be freeing this up and sorting that out. What else have we got? We have a petrol can, heavily dented. Let's have a go at that in a moment. We'll see if we can get the dents out of the can. Show you a few little tricks for that. Whether it'll work or not, I'm not sure, because obviously I can't really practice this before we video it. I've done them before and people have different tricks and things for petrol cans. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now if you know your petrol cans, you'll know it's a rare one. I started out collecting petrol cans. I had 60 or 80 at one point, I can't remember now, and I've never had an NFO Motor Spirit can. So this is a lovely, lovely early can. You can see there's some original green paint. If I adjust this light, there we go, there's original green paint on there still, and a lot of black, which is just dirt as far as I can make out. The date is under the handle. I doubt you'll be able to see that on this camera, I'm afraid. Yeah, 8/26, so August 1926. Nice, old can. But what's wrong with this one, you say? That. Yeah, something has fallen down on this can, I think, and crushed it. It's actually slightly split the seam there as well. You can see loads of that green paint underneath. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. So we're going to do our normal cleanup as well and show you a bit of cleaning up and oiling to preserve some of the paint if we can. And we want to try and get this dent out. Now some people have tried unsuccessfully with compressed air. Some people it does work. A few friends that I've spoken to have managed to blow cans apart with compressed air in. Obviously with the little split in the seam there, it wouldn't work anyway. Something like that needs to be tapped out. We could get take a blowtorch or a heat gun to this and split all the seams, taking all the solder out, but that would ruin the can. Then we'd have to paint it, and I don't really want to do that. I want to keep it original. So the only way we can really do this, because we can't get anything inside the can, is going to be from the outside using some panel beaters, hammers and tools. So let's have a go at that, shall we, and see what we can do. Firstly, I need to clear the bench because it's a mess. So here's the petrol can on the bench. I will move the camera so you can see what I'm doing here because I'm right-handed. But we need to try and tap out this dent there. So we're going to make use of the vise, we're going to make use of some hammers and tools to do that. Okay, so we want to use a different selection of hammers and dollies and paddles and things like that. These are panel beaters tools. You'll notice this is one of my favourite hammers. It's a really old snap-on panel beaters hammer, and you'll notice the sort of chisel shaped head there. It's absolutely brilliant, particularly for petrol cans in the edges there in the seam. So that's what I'm mainly going to use to start with, to try and get this beaded edge back into shape first, and then we'll work on the creases and things like that. Also a couple of punches or drifts, a couple of drifts here as well, different sizes. We'll be able to use those and get in and around where we can't get the hammer in. Put this drift right on the point there, at the highest point, and try and beat that down. See it starting to go. Okay, let's have a check. So it's starting to come out. Okay, so a massive amount of movement there. Starting to get rid of that dent. Obviously we've got this crease to sort there as well at the moment, but it's going that way as well. So let's just tap that down. Take that back in a little bit more. It's not the easiest thing to do this by a long shot. We want to be very careful not to just ruin the base. Oh, that's starting to look better. Okay, that's getting a shape back into the panel now, but we've still got an issue with the base. Now what we need to do is put that on a block so that we can push that out. Okay, a couple of blocks of wood here. These are lovely English oak. Go under there. Something like that. That was to go further than the bench. Use the block. Getting there. So unfortunately we still have this crease in the base we need to address. Now that, I think, can only be done one way, and that is going to have to be inside. So what we've got here with the base is there's the edge that side, and this side is much further in than it should be. So we need to just pull this edge back out a bit. And obviously that needs to push in there. Not quite long enough though. Normally I have a long bar around for things like this, but at the moment I can't find it. Okay, a couple of long bars. This is like a tyre lever or something like that, but is really good for working on insides of cans, along with this one. Nicely rounded off edge. We can use this for just pushing that edge of that base back down where it should be. So there we go, a few different tools, a little bit of patience and some trial and error, and it just shows what can be done with a petrol can that looks like it's past it. And what you've got to remember with these things is they are very thin. Obviously this can is over 90 years old, it's had a life. It's amazing that it's survived in this original condition as it is and has never been repainted. The base, you can see we've still got a slight bit of indentation there, but really we can live with that. When it's on a shelf, if you're going to be displaying it on that side, at least there's no huge dent. They are really thin metal, these are delicate soldered joints. In their working days they would have been taken apart, beaten about, resealed where the seams were leaking, they'd have been painted up. So it's a really amazing find, to be honest, and at least that means it displays much better now for years to come. Let's give it a clean up now, the final bit of the job. Clean it up and preserve that paintwork. Nice. Some of this dirt is quite heavy. It's going to need a good scrubbing and scraping as well. The nice thing about this brush is it's a wheel cleaning brush. Really hard plastic bristles, but not necessarily highly abrasive. Ideal for this because it's really working into that thick grease, which you can see coming off here, but not damaging the paint. With the wire wool, you can get to a point where you start rubbing paint away. You don't want to do that. There we go, cleaned, degreased, the original green paint coming through beautifully, no dents, ready for a coat of oil and go on the shelf. Not just any old oil though. Now this is not just engine oil or anything like that. This actually dries this product, and so we will be left with a nice preserved, soaked in, dry, oily finish that protects the paint. That's it. There we go. So there we go. That's a petrol can restored and turned back into something beautiful that you can put on a shelf and enjoy. I've really enjoyed doing that actually. Didn't take too long. It's not too difficult. Just need to be a little bit brave and trial and error. These things take a bit of practice. It's taken us a while to just learn techniques. It doesn't always go right. Sometimes it does. So that's the petrol can finished. We've got the new Avery hard oil pump. We've got the new Hammond pump. We've got a couple more on the way. We have an Avery 598 Shell pump coming. That's probably going to be for a customer. We've also secured hopefully another early visible pump. So we'll update you on that next week. Just before we go as well, I want to show you the little Triumph Tiger Cub. Now, if you remember last week, we had the Tiger Cub in bits. The crank has come back and it's fantastic. It's needed a new big end bearing. The crank has had to be machined a little bit, and the pockets on the flywheels turned out. That was all done by a specialist. It's all been trued up, balanced, and is back in the bike. We have had it running, however, the timing's still a little bit off. So we've had it running like this. Sounding okay, but when you try to rev it, it wants to cut out, and if it does rev, it starts pinking. So we've definitely got to look at the timing. I'm tempted to upgrade to an electronic ignition while we have the chance and do a few little things like that. Yeah, so we're a big step forward. The Tiger Cub is back together. At least we don't have boxes of parts lying around the workshop anymore. So that's it for this week, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that. Just a brief update of what's going on around here in the workshop. If you're interested in any of the signs, jump over to the website, vintageautomobilia.co.uk. Most of them are on there. Don't forget as well, please like and subscribe down here as well if you enjoy these little videos. Also, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We post on there fairly regularly. Instagram, most days we're putting pictures on of restoration projects and latest finds as well. So if you don't want to miss out on what we're buying and selling and cleaning and finding, remember, give us a follow on there as well. Thanks very much for watching. That's it from me this week. I will see you next time on Vintage Automobilia's YouTube channel. Stay safe. Bye for now.